life is suffering. That's the fundamental truth. You can argue against it, you can ignore it, you can distract yourself from it, but it will not change. The weight of existence is real. And if you don't take responsibility for yourself, it will crush you. That's not pessimism, that's reality. But here's the thing, you have a choice. You can let life beat you down, or you can stand up and fight. And that fight isn't against the world or society or the people around you, it's against yourself. Every single day there are habits, destructive and insidious, that will pull you downward if you don't resist them. They don't announce themselves. They whisper. They justify themselves with excuses. And the more you allow them, the weaker you become. The first of these habits is avoidance. You know exactly what you need to do. You can feel it pressing at the edges of your mind. The thing left undone, the conversation you've been avoiding, the responsibility you keep pushing into tomorrow. But avoidance doesn't make it go away, it makes it grow. The longer you refuse to face what needs to be faced, the more monstrous it becomes. And yet, if you turn toward it, if you voluntarily confront what frightens you, it shrinks. Life is full of dragons, but they are worst when left in the shadows. Face them voluntarily, or they will burn your house down. Then there's self-deception. You tell yourself little lies every day. You say, I'll start later, but you know you won't. You say, it's not my fault, when deep down you know you played a part. And every time you do this, you warp your own perception of reality. The world doesn't bend to your lies, it remains exactly as it is. But the further you drift from the truth, the weaker you become in the face of it. Reality is relentless, and if you're not aligned with it, it will punish you. Be honest, brutally honest. It's the only way forward. Comfort seeking is another trap. It seems harmless. You just want to relax, to take it easy, to enjoy yourself for a while. But here's the truth. If you seek comfort above all else, you will never grow. Growth requires struggle. It requires effort, pain, and challenge. If you avoid discomfort, you stagnate. And when you stagnate, life loses its meaning. People think suffering is what makes life unbearable, but that's not quite right. Meaningless suffering is unbearable. And if you spend your days chasing ease, you will one day wake up to find that your life has become small, dull, and empty. Blame is one of the most corrosive habits a person can develop. The moment you start pointing fingers at your parents, at your boss, at society, you give up your own power. Because if someone else is responsible for your misery, then you are powerless to change it. But if you take ownership, if you say, no, this is my responsibility, then you have the ability to act. And that's what you want. You want to be able to act. People who blame everything but themselves are trapped in their own victimhood. Don't be that person. The way you speak shapes the way you think. If your words are careless, if you lie, if you gossip, if you fill the air with meaningless noise, you weaken your own mind. Precision in speech is precision in thought. If you say something, mean it. Choose your words carefully because they are not just sounds. They are the structure upon which you build your reality. If you speak carelessly, you will think carelessly. And if you think carelessly, your life will be a mess. Neglecting your body is another way people set themselves up for failure. You cannot separate mind and body. If you don't move, if you don't eat well, if you don't sleep properly, your mind will suffer. A weak body leads to a weak will. If you don't respect yourself enough to care for your health, then why should anyone else respect you? Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping, because you are. And finally, cynicism. It's easy to look at the world and say it's all corrupt, it's all pointless. That's the lazy way out. It takes no courage to mock, to dismiss, to tear down. But cynicism is not intelligence, it's cowardice pretending to be wisdom. If you refuse to engage with the world, if you refuse to try, you're not proving your superiority, you're proving your fear. Yes, the world is broken. Yes, there is corruption, suffering, and unfairness. But that doesn't absolve you of your duty to make things better. You are a part of the world. You can either contribute to its decay or to its repair. The choice is yours. So battle these habits. Every single day, Don't let them control you. Don't let them dictate the course of your life. If you fight them, if you push forward despite the difficulty, you will become something stronger, something capable, something worthy of respect. Most importantly, self-respect. And that, above all else, is what will allow you to bear the suffering of life with. Life is not easy. It never has been, and it never will be. The moment you think you can coast through without struggle, you open the door to chaos. People assume that if they avoid difficulty, if they keep their heads down and stay comfortable, things will work themselves out. But that's not true. Life doesn't reward passivity. It punishes it. If you're not actively fighting to improve yourself, you are decaying. That's the fundamental reality. Self-improvement is not a hobby and it's not a luxury. It's a battle, a daily battle. And like any battle, if you don't engage, you lose. The enemy is not outside of you. It's not your boss or your past or the government or society. The enemy is within you. It's your laziness, your fear, your self-doubt, your desire for comfort, and your refusal to take responsibility. These forces do not disappear when ignored. They grow. Every time you let them win, they get stronger. And if you let them take over completely, you become someone you don't respect. Someone who looks in the mirror and sees nothing but weakness. That's why self-improvement isn't about reading motivational quotes or daydreaming about a better future. It's about fighting yourself every single day. You wake up and the first battle begins. Will you get up when you said you would? Or will you hit snooze? It seems like a small thing, but it's not. Because every choice you make is a statement about who you are. Are you someone who does what needs to be done? Or are you someone who takes the easy way out? That decision compounds. If you let yourself slip even a little, the excuses start piling up. Soon everything becomes negotiable. Your goals, your commitments, your integrity. Discipline is war against your own weakness. People fantasize about strength, about confidence, about success, but they don't understand that all of those things are forged in battle. You don't become strong by avoiding struggle. You become strong by enduring it. You don't become disciplined by waiting for motivation. You become disciplined by acting in defiance of your own resistance. There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when it feels easy. The part of you that wants to improve and the part of you that wants to stay the same will always be at war. And the one that wins is the one you feed. The battle is not just physical, it's psychological. Your mind will fight you at every turn. It will tell you that you're not good enough, that it's not worth it, that you'll fail anyway, so why bother trying? It will present you with every excuse imaginable. And if you listen, if you give in, you lose ground. You become weaker. But if you push through, if you prove to yourself that you can act in spite of your doubts, something changes. You start seeing yourself differently. You realize that you are not just a passive observer of your own mind. You are its master. This battle never ends. There's no finish line, no moment where you finally won. People think that one day they'll arrive at success and everything will be easy, but that's a lie. Even the strongest, most disciplined people fight these battles daily. The difference is they expect it. They don't run from the struggle. They accept it as the price of a meaningful life. And that's what this is really about, meaning. If you don't fight, if you don't strive for something greater, life becomes empty. Comfort and ease might sound appealing, but they are traps. A life without challenge is a life without purpose. You must take up arms against yourself, against your laziness, your self-doubt, your excuses. You must see yourself as a warrior, not in the sense of physical combat, but in the sense of resilience, discipline, and unrelenting forward movement. When you fail, and you will, you get back up. When you feel weak, you push through. When everything in you wants to quit, you keep going. That is what separates those who achieve from those who stagnate. People search for meaning in the wrong places. They think they will find it in pleasure, in entertainment, in distraction. But meaning is earned. It is carved out of difficulty. It is built through sacrifice, through discipline, through the relentless pursuit of what is right despite the obstacles. If you want to respect yourself, if you want to wake up and feel like your existence matters, you have to fight for it. You have to engage in the battle of self-improvement every single day. No one is coming to save you. No one will fight this war for you. It is your responsibility and yours alone. The world does not care if you succeed or fail, if you thrive or collapse under your own weakness. But you should care. You should demand more from yourself, because if you don't, no one else will. This is your life, and you are the only one who can shape it into something worthwhile. So fight. Fight every day. Fight even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that is the only way you become someone worth being. Life is structured around struggle. Whether you acknowledge it or not, you are in a constant battle, not just with external challenges, but with yourself. The way you think, the habits you develop, and the narratives you construct all shape your reality. People often assume their thoughts are just reflections of the world, but that's not true. Your mind does not passively observe reality. It interprets, filters, and distorts it. If you do not take control of that process, if you do not impose order on your own perceptions, you will be... People often underestimate the power of self-deception. The human mind is not designed to seek truth. It is designed to protect the ego. It will rationalize, justify, and twist reality to avoid discomfort. That's why people tell themselves lies. I'll start tomorrow. It's not my fault. I don't really care about that. These statements feel true in the moment because they serve a psychological function. They protect you from immediate discomfort, but they are traps. They prevent growth. The only way forward is brutal honesty. You must force yourself to see what is real, no matter how painful it is, because the truth exists whether you face it or not, and reality always wins in the end. Your words shape your thoughts. People assume language is just a tool for communication, but it's more than that. The way you speak, especially to yourself, determines the way you think. If you use vague, imprecise language, your thoughts will be vague and imprecise. If you speak in absolutes, I always fail, I'll never succeed, you embed those beliefs into your subconscious. Precision in speech leads to precision in thought, and precision in thought leads to clarity in action. If you want to change your reality, start by changing the way you articulate it. People think the goal is happiness, but that's an illusion. Happiness is fleeting. It's unstable. If you chase happiness directly, you will always be disappointed. The real goal is meaning, and meaning is found in responsibility. The more responsibility you take on, the more resilient you become. The more you avoid responsibility, the weaker and more fragile you feel. This is why people who dedicate themselves to something greater than themselves, family, career, personal growth, experience a deeper sense of fulfillment than those who chase short-term pleasure. Your mind is not your ally by default. It must be trained. If left unchecked, it will seek ease, avoid struggle, distort reality, and keep you small. The only way forward is discipline. You must take control of your own psychology, impose order on your mind, and act in a way that moves you forward, even when you don't feel like it. If you do not take responsibility for shaping your own thoughts and behaviors, then they will be shaped by your weaknesses instead. The battle for self-improvement is a battle against the natural tendencies of the human mind. It is a battle against avoidance, against self-deception, against laziness and fear. But if you fight, if you take ownership of your own psychology, you can forge a mind that works for you instead of against you. And when that happens, life does not become easier, but you become stronger. And that, in the end, is what really matters. Comfort is a dangerous thing. It whispers to you, lulling you into complacency, making you believe that you deserve ease, that struggle is unnecessary, that you have already done enough. But life does not reward comfort. It punishes it. Every moment spent indulging in passivity is a moment wasted, a moment in which your potential slips further out of reach. People assume that if they do nothing, things will stay the same. But that is an illusion. Nothing stays the same. You are either growing or decaying, moving forward or sliding backward. There is no stasis. Passivity is the silent killer of ambition, purpose, and meaning. It disguises itself as rest, as relaxation, as harmless procrastination. But in reality, it is a slow erosion of your will. The more you let yourself indulge in idleness, the harder it becomes to take action. Momentum works both ways. If you consistently push forward, action becomes habitual. If you consistently retreat into comfort, avoidance becomes second nature. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you reinforce a pattern of weakness. Every time you delay the difficult thing, you make it harder to ever do it at all. People assume they can wait until they feel ready, until motivation strikes, until life presents them with the perfect opportunity. But that moment never comes. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. And soon you wake up one day and realize years have passed and you are no closer to becoming the person you wanted to be. That is the cost of comfort. It robs you of time, of potential, of the very essence of life itself. Because life is not meant to be easy. It is meant to be a challenge. And in that challenge you find purpose. There is a psychological trick at play when you choose passivity. Your mind tells you that avoiding difficulty is the smart choice, that by resting now, you are preserving your energy for something important later. But this is a lie. You are not preserving energy, you are draining it. The less you do, the less capable you feel of doing anything. Energy is not something you store, it is something you generate through action. The more you push yourself, the more capable you become. The more you retreat, the weaker you feel. Passivity breeds more passivity. Action breeds more action. The modern world makes comfort easier than ever. Everything is designed for convenience, instant entertainment, effortless communication, endless distractions. You can go through an entire day without experiencing a single moment of discomfort. But that is precisely why so many people feel lost. They do not struggle, so they do not grow. They do not push themselves, so they do not achieve. And when they look around at their lives, they feel an emptiness they cannot explain. That emptiness is the result of avoiding responsibility, of choosing ease over effort, of neglecting the fundamental truth that growth only comes through struggle. You must resist this pull toward passivity. You must force yourself into discomfort, not because suffering is inherently good, but because it is necessary. The weightlifter does not lift heavy because pain is enjoyable. He lifts because strength is built through resistance. The same is true for every aspect of life. If you do not challenge yourself, you will never be strong. If you do not willingly take on hardship, hardship will find you unprepared. If you do not fight against your own comfort-seeking nature, it will consume you. The world does not owe you anything. It will not hand you success, purpose, or fulfillment. These things are earned. They are the byproducts of effort, discipline, and the willingness to suffer for something greater. Every person who has ever achieved anything worthwhile has done so by embracing struggle, by pushing forward when it would have been easier to quit. The weak wait for motivation. The strong act despite its absence. That is the difference between those who build meaningful lives and those who drift aimlessly, wondering why nothing ever changes. Passivity is an illusion of safety. It makes you believe you are avoiding pain, avoiding failure, avoiding embarrassment. But in reality, you are ensuring something far worse: regret. There is nothing more painful than looking back on your life and realizing you could have done more, that you let opportunities slip by, that you allowed fear and laziness to dictate your choices. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. Do not fall into the trap of comfort. Seek out difficulty. Choose responsibility. Force yourself into action even when you do not feel like it. Because in the end, the only thing worse than the discomfort of effort is the agony of a wasted life. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop telling yourself that tomorrow will be different. It won't be, not unless you make it so. Every day, you sit back. Every day you let your impulses dictate your actions, you are losing ground. You think you can stay where you are, that inaction is neutral. It isn't. If you are not moving forward, you are falling behind. Life is not going to wait for you to feel ready. You must act now, in this moment, without excuse, without hesitation. Your biggest enemy is not the world, not your circumstances, not some external force beyond your control. Your biggest enemy is you. It's the part of you that seeks comfort, the part that wants to avoid difficulty, the part that whispers, just take it easy. You deserve a break. That voice is a liar. That voice is dragging you down, weakening you, eroding your willpower, one small indulgence at a time. You cannot negotiate with it. You cannot reason with it. You must crush it. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you weaken that voice. Every time you give in, you make it stronger. Stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop telling yourself that tomorrow will be different. It won't be, not unless you make it so. Every day you sit back, every day you let your impulses dictate your actions, you are losing ground. You think you can stay where you are, that inaction is neutral. It isn't. If you are not moving forward, you are falling behind. Life is not going to wait for you to feel ready. You must act now, in this moment, without excuse, without hesitation. Your biggest enemy is not the world, not your circumstances, not some external force beyond your control. Your biggest enemy is you. It's the part of you that seeks comfort, the part that wants to avoid difficulty, the part that whispers, just take it easy. You deserve a break. That voice is a liar. That voice is dragging you down, weakening you, eroding your willpower one small indulgence at a time. You cannot negotiate with it. You cannot reason with it. You must crush it. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you weaken that voice. Every time you give in, you make it stronger. You think your habits don't matter? They do. Every small decision compounds. You hit snooze one morning, then another, and suddenly you are the kind of person who starts the day by losing. You skip the gym once, then twice, then a month passes, and you are weaker physically and mentally. You let a task slide at work, ignore a responsibility at home, and soon you are buried under the weight of your own avoidance. This is how people become failures, not through one catastrophic decision, but through 1,000 tiny moments of weakness. Discipline is not something you find, it's something you build. You do not wait to feel motivated. You do not wait for inspiration. You act. You wake up, you push through the fatigue, and you do what needs to be done, even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to, because that is what separates those who accomplish from those who wish. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to step in and fix your problems. You must take full responsibility for yourself. You don't like where you are in life? Change it. You feel stuck? Get moving. You lack confidence? Earn it through action. No one is going to hand you success, and the world does not owe you comfort. You must fight for it. You must work for it every single day. And stop making excuses. You know exactly what you need to do. You know what you've been avoiding. You know what's holding you back. But instead of facing it, you rationalize, justify, pretend that the problem is external when it's really internal. You need to be honest with yourself, brutally honest. Look at your life, at your choices, and ask yourself, are you doing everything you can to be better? If the answer is no, then fix it right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Pain is unavoidable. You can choose the pain of discipline or you can choose the pain of regret. One of them makes you stronger. The other slowly eats away at you. If you think avoiding difficulty will make life easier, you are wrong. The longer you avoid responsibility, the heavier it becomes. The longer you run from struggle, the more it controls you. Stop running, turn around and face it. You are capable of more. You know that. Deep down, you know it. but knowledge is useless without action. You must prove to yourself every day that you are not weak, that you are not a victim of circumstance, that you are not going to let your own laziness dictate your future. Do something. Now, take the first step, then take another and another. Keep moving, keep pushing, keep fighting, because the alternative is unacceptable. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop telling yourself that tomorrow will be different when you know it won't be unless you make it so. If you want change, you need to act. Not later, not when it's convenient. Right now, because every second you waste is a second you don't get back. The first step is to take full responsibility. No more blaming circumstances, no more pointing fingers at your past, your parents, your job, or society. None of that matters. You are where you are because of the choices you've made. And if you want to be somewhere else, you need to make different choices. That's not unfair, that's reality. If you refuse to accept responsibility, you are handing control of your life over to everything but yourself. You will stay stuck, repeating the same patterns, making the same mistakes, wondering why nothing ever changes. Own your failures. Own your weaknesses. Because once you own them, you can change them. Next, attack your day with structure. If you don't control your time will control you. You don't have a plan? Make one. Write it down. What time are you waking up? What are you doing first? What tasks must be completed? Break them down. Set deadlines. If you don't set clear targets, you will drift through the day, reacting instead of acting. You will get lost in distractions, in excuses, in passive consumption. Stop letting that happen. Wake up with a mission and execute. Your body is not separate from your mind. If you neglect it, your mind suffers too. Move, train, strengthen yourself. You feel tired all the time? Fix your sleep. Get off your phone before bed. Stop eating garbage. Exercise daily. Your body is not an afterthought. It is the foundation of your discipline. If you can't control what you eat, how you sleep, or how you treat your body, how can you expect to control the bigger aspects of your life? Start with the fundamentals. Build momentum. Do the hard things first. The task you're avoiding, the one that makes you uncomfortable, the one that requires real effort. That's what you tackle immediately. No waiting, no procrastinating. You don't get to negotiate with yourself. The longer you delay, the heavier the task becomes. And if you make a habit of postponing difficult things, you are training yourself to be weak. So stop, do it now. Cut out distractions. Your phone, social media, mindless entertainment, these things are stealing your time, your focus, your life. Be ruthless. If it doesn't serve you, eliminate it. Your attention is your most valuable resource, and if you don't control it, someone else will. Set boundaries. Block out time for deep work. Make it non-negotiable. Your future depends on what you do with your hours. Treat them like they matter, because they do. Stop seeking comfort. Every time you choose the easy path, you make yourself weaker. Every time you avoid struggle, you rob yourself of growth. Lean into discomfort. Chase it. If it's hard, if it's painful, if it makes you want to quit, that's where you need to be. That's where you improve. Comfort is a trap. It lulls you into stagnation, into mediocrity. But struggle transforms you. It forces you to grow. Choose struggle. Choose difficulty. Track your progress. If you aren't measuring, you aren't improving. Keep a journal. Write down your goals, your wins, your failures. Review them daily. Adjust. Improve. This isn't about perfection. It's about relentless progress. If you're not tracking what you're doing, how do you know if you're getting better? You don't. You're just guessing. Stop guessing. Get serious. You will fail. Accept that now. You will fall short. You will have days where you lose the battle. That's fine. But what matters is that you don't let failure become an excuse to quit. Get back up. Try again. The weak let failure define them. The strong use it as fuel. You decide which one you are.